Tesla's Q4 earnings call was, in my opinion, an overwhelming success and what Tesla investors needed to hear. They not only reiterated guidance for more affordable vehicles, but more importantly, plans for commercialized robotaxi and humanoid bot production. We've had a night to think about it, so let's review the key points that stood out. We can review both the comments that affect the near term, but also those affecting the longer term. Beyond Elon Musk saying that he now sees Tesla becoming not only the largest company in the world, but at some point several times more than the top 5 companies combined, he also said he sees an epic 2026 and ridiculous 2027 and 2028. Let's see how we get there. And the person who's going to shine the light for us, remind us everything that Tesla and Elon said yesterday, is Brian White, host of his own YouTube channel called FutureAza, one of the best channels out there. Welcome so much, Brian.
Yes, it is one of the best. I appreciate you coming around on that. No, this was one heck of a call. We've had quarters where the calls didn't go well. Not recently. Q3, I thought, was a pretty fantastic call. It got a few complaints. The only complaints I saw in this call was he's in a bit of a silly mood. Hey, that's great. I'll take silly over gloomy. And I think this was, we watched the stock price tumble and correct in after hours trading. And I can see why.
Yeah, so definitely, I felt it was really good. You felt it was quite good, and I'm sure the stock's going to rocket up. We'll see what happens, right? We're filming this just hours after the earnings call. We haven't had a full time to really sit back and think about what we heard. But right off the bat, what was the thing that stuck in your mind that you thought was, wow, I did not know that? That really makes me more excited now than more than ever.
The certainty. The certainty was what made me encouraged. He didn't say maybe some robotaxis at some point. We're still hopeful. Things look okay. He said, look, I'm here. I've got Ashok with me. I've got all the relevant people from the team. June. It's coming in June. Unsupervised, paid rides on the network. Not your car, our car, not the consumers, but the company's car. And it is happening. It will happen definitely in Austin. It will definitely happen in some other cities. There are some regulatory hurdles, but they are if one city doesn't like it, we'll do a different city. It's fine. And then from there, it would roll out whenever it makes sense. But the fact is, those are material timelines, and the same with the bot. Look, they're already being used. We are going to be ramping them into the thousands this year. We'd like to say 10,000. I get it. We may not hit 10, but when we fall short, it'll still be more humanoid bots than every company in the world has deployed cumulatively throughout all of human history. Yeah. If that doesn't get you excited, you're not paying attention, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, good answers, right? So obviously you went straight to autonomy, you just went straight to bots. Okay, let's step back a bit, right? So first of all, they had huge misses, not huge, but misses across the board. Revenue, earnings, cash flow, free cash flow, everything was down compared to estimates. But interestingly, good thing, the analysts did not even really bat an eye this time. Nobody was worried about it. Wasn't even a thing that they said at all, right? Which is a good thing. The other thing I thought that was interesting was they did not give guidance for vehicles. Last year, they had said 20 to 30% growth. This year, they had a line that said there's a lot of variables to what can happen. Before we get to the big, more important things, but let's talk about that, the metrics, the financials, and the vehicles.
Let's talk about that. We got guidance on what the factories can do, but we know the factories are underutilized. Not all of them. Fremont is at or near capacity. Shanghai is at or near capacity. That will expand this year with the slightly simplified Model Y. They should be able to produce more from the same footprint. But Texas, Berlin, those are both underutilized factories. We know there's more capacity. What we don't know, and what we didn't get an answer on, is there more ability to actually move those units? You and I believe there is. Model Y, the best-selling car in the world, just got better. That's going to move some units. There is not substantial downtime for retooling. They're making them on the assembly line right next to the older model. It's going to be smooth and painless. But what he's not saying is all this capacity means we can automatically sell them. Those days are gone. So And I've seen people complaining, well, we'll never get back to those, 25, 30% margin days. There were extenuating circumstances that made that the perfect storm for, profit windfalls, as it were, that is hopefully not going to come back, where every automaker in the world shuts down except for Tesla. So yeah, the
Huh.
guidance we got was reasonable.
Okay. So I have a different take on this. What I heard was a little bit different. I think that the demand for these cars is not an issue at all next year. That's not going to be the concern. That's not something they actually brought up. What I think that they did bring up was that there's battery constraints. One is just prior to the earnings call, he said, we had a team, discussion about how are we going to create these batteries that we need. So that is, I think, one reason why they might not have given a set guidance. The other thing that I think that they did say in one of the kind of why they did not yet give a guidance is because of the progress of autonomy. I think we're at this point this year, we're so close. And they're going to roll out autonomy or commercialize robotaxi in June. If things work out really well, why would you, they might invest their money in slightly different things versus like going all in on vehicle production or going all in on, let's say, cybercab production or even bot production. All of these things, I think they're just going to hold back a little bit to decide, but I don't think it's because we're having any issues at all. I didn't hear a single thing about vehicle issues. Did you hear something different?
Well, I didn't hear that the vehicles were an issue, but Model Y is manufactured in 4 factories around the world, 4 very productive factories around the world. Tesla's least productive factory, the former NUMMI plant in Fremont, is one of the most productive factories in the world, and it's Tesla's least efficient factory. So once you're at number 1, you start running out of headroom to sell more units. Could Tesla cut margins to move even more? Yeah, but I would agree with you that we are at a position where this may be the last year of horse-drawn carriages. How much money do we want to put into the new machine that makes horseshoes faster? I don't know if it's the right investment, and it seems like they have the same philosophy. Let's wait and figure out where to deploy the capital, and the capital is ready to deploy. The pile is still growing. That is one metric that did increase, was cash on hand, right? They have more cash on hand than they did before, despite Cortex,
33 billion.
Despite all the money they're spending on developing these things, despite their largest ever R&D spend, which is still very lean compared to the competition, and the fact that they can get so much innovation out of so little R&D, I mean, don't bet against them.
Okay. What's your thoughts about the confidence that they had with, I think they successfully pivoted the conversation. We started this conversation talking about financial metrics and volume of cars. Really, no one else really brought that up at all. So let's move on, because that's really the more important things. Because of the confidence in the autonomy and bots, because that they're really at the door of producing these in large numbers and actually generating revenue. This is what actually will define the company. Whether or not we grow 20% next year or 30% or 40% or even 10, 15%, that matters, but it doesn't really matter. This is what matters. What was your confidence level with both of these?
With both of which?
Autonomy and bots.
Before now or now?
Like today.
Now it's very high.
Yeah.
My confidence in bots before the earnings call was they're going to happen. And my confidence with bots is they're going to happen this year in a meaningful way. I will still meet people in December who will say they're not real because I've never seen one. And I'll say, do you work inside of a heavy equipment factory? Do you make automobiles in Austin? Then of course you haven't seen one. Why would you see one? You've probably also never seen a hydraulic press in real life, but I assure you those are real too. This isn't science fiction anymore. This is here. This is absolutely here. Well, Disney made these very clever robots years ago that could replace human stunt performers. Yes, unreliably and at tremendous expense and in ways that do not scale. This is something different. This can't do parkour, but it can push a bin of sheet metal to the next station where it needs to be. That's what I need it to do. That's the task at hand. And when I give it a new task, now all of them can do it. There's no training time. You don't you train once. And a month later, it comes back and says, I found something more efficient because I'm AI and I can do that. Oh my gosh, great. Let's do that instead. So my confidence on bots through the roof, my confidence on autonomy, if they're saying it's June, they could miss by months and it would still be this year.
Yeah, exactly. All right. And that's a high level, stick to what you're expecting in 2025. And he called 2026 epic, and then 27 ridiculous. Let's go with 25. What do you see? Based on what you heard yesterday, what's going to roll out this year?
Semi will roll out. Cortex. Yeah. Cortex will spool up and begin solving problems that you and I didn't realize existed. We talked on a show on my channel about how there could be route planning considerations that don't make sense to think about today. It could solve those problems. It could look at the supply chain and consider it differently. It could be assigned to think of new chemistries that might work for it could do anything. Yeah. Cortex will do something new. But then what else will we see this year? Implementation of robot, implementation of the autonomy. And that will be the beginning of the groundswell where people outside of our bubble will start to realize something's going on. I think we might see the beginning of, this year, by the end of this year, I think we might see ground level murmuring about, Tesla, like we did back in 2019 when people were first discovering that it's a real company.
Yeah. I mean, I love it when he said, right, this is going to be this is the year, the most pivotal year, most important year, Tesla's history. 2025. That's amazing. How we describe 2025. More affordable models. Brian, you forgot to.
I did forget. The list is too long.
It's too long. Still on track to deliver more affordable models in 2020. First half of 2025, by the way.
Within 5 months.
Before June. It's coming.
Within 5 months.
Yeah. First half, he said.
That's insane. I can't wait to find out what it is. Yeah. Just so we can stop speculating.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 2025, most pivotal year. I think he also said that the bots will be, they have an internal plan to create 10,000 bots this year. Will we do that? Very unlikely, but we'll be making thousands of bots this year. And they'll be used here in our company. So that's 2025. Then he called 2026 epic. And we'll get to 2027 and 28 called ridiculously epic. Ridiculous. So epic 2026. What do you see there?
I see bots going up to scale.
Yeah.
And by scale, I mean more than 10,000 will be sold. I think more than 10,000 will be sold outside the company. I think they will be sufficiently common that people will have seen them and that those murmurings from, well, I've never seen one will start to go away because somebody will have them on display, maybe at their store, maybe at their big event, maybe it'll be something like with the Cybertruck where even though Tesla's not paying for promotion, they're working as backup dancers. Mm-hmm. They could do anything. They could be, Kid Rock brought his Cybertruck to a concert. Tesla didn't pay for that, but there it was in the crowd least likely to be friendly to an electric pickup cheering for it. So I think we'll see a lot of that. Autonomy, once it is determined that this is solved and scalable. This was a lesson I learned from Randy about marketing. When you tweak it until it works, you're advertising, you tweak it until it works. And then when you find what works, go in heavy. Once this is profitable and works and it's completely validated, you open the floodgates. It doesn't matter how many robotaxis you make. You will sell half, keep half, and the market, it will become ubiquitous. It will be the new yellow cab of New York City. It'll be everywhere in every city. It'll be the thing. That'll be a fundamental shift that'll take a generation to complete, but it's going to go quick at the beginning. It's going to be everywhere. And that also turns on the cash spigot. Semis will start going out. We'll start in big numbers. Semis will hopefully start getting some autonomy. I think regulation is the bigger holdback than the tech on that. And that will, like Elon said, and I agree, it is likely that autonomy will take so long to take over in trucking that the retirement rate will still exceed the amount of autonomous trucks that can be deployed. So it's not displacing workers, it's just replacing them
Yeah.
at the rate at which they're already leaving. So that's what I think for 26, and also Megapack Shanghai. We're going to see a lot of production out of them in 25. There may be a third Megapack factory in 26. We're going to see that. And yeah, these import tariffs on Chinese batteries are a real uncomfortable situation. And a lot of the companies that were planning and building factories in the US scaled back or canceled them completely when it became clear that those incentives were going to be on the chopping block. So the US has got a real battery shortfall coming if we don't normalize trade relations with someone who's got them or get our own factories running.
2026. Okay, so 25, it's what he said, right? It's going to be the most important year. Think about 2026. So 2026, you're going to have, he said 10,000 bots per month. That's the run rate for the production line, the second version of the production line, the second version of the actual bot itself. 10,000 bots per month.
Right.
That's a crazy number.
A month.
They're going to sell it to other companies second half of next year. That's 2026. You're going to have robotaxi. He said that this year, 2025, robotaxi is going to launch to not just California and so for sure Austin in June. California, he said very confidently will launch this year, 2025. And he goes even many other cities by the end of this year. But 2026, he said it's going to be approved almost everywhere globally, FSD, and it'll be able to be driven anywhere. Then it's going to be much more of the expansion. So think about that, right? Robotaxi being distributed everywhere. And then yes, back to the bots. Can you imagine 10,000 bots per month? It's like 20,000 bots. Like 1,000 bots is already like a whole gymnasium full.
Right. But 10,000 is a small city per year. A whole new city.
Isn't that crazy? That's so many. And so really 2026, and that's when they're going to actually just turn on the spigot. I think you already said that in terms of money. That's money. These are all paid. These are our margins. This is all sold. This is no longer pilots. And then what did he say? Yeah, so that's 2026, and then ridiculous 27 and 28.
One way to look at bots and cybercabs is the margin on the bot may be sufficiently large to pay for the cybercab that you don't sell.
Yeah.
So for every bot you sell, you get to keep a cybercab. That would be the endless. I mean, the amount of money people. Oh, well, they should start buying their shares back. There won't be enough money in the world to buy back those shares because every one you buy back increases the value of the remainder. And beyond 26, my vision gets cloudy because the band of
it's only 2 years away, man.
Right. But these are 2 very big years. The band of what's possible is very wide. If you ask me what's the future of Coca-Cola in 2027, I can tell you take today's trend line and go a little bit up or a little bit down. But this is a trend line that's just ginormous. That's wide, a wide band of possibility. And a lot of it comes down to fundamental shifts in the way we think about daily life.
So he said that they were battery constrained. And then he also said, right, that it's we have to make a decision between, do we make the batteries for stationary or for mobile? Mobile meaning cars and bots. Now, if you think in 2027, you have, a scaled production and scaled rollout of money-making robotaxi, scaled production and scaled rollout of money-making bots. And then you got your cybercabs and you got your vehicles. And then you have this battery decisions. I would personally be putting all in on bots. I would reduce my goal for how many Model 3s and Model Ys and Model X's and S's we're going to produce. I want to take that battery, even semis, by the way. Doesn't sound like it from his conversation. They sound like they're still going to go, he said, oh, we'll still make billions of dollars per year, but compared to the bot, it's like 1% of the bot revenue. That's what he said about semi, but it sounds like they're still going to do it. But you know what I mean? Like if you were a business and you're making these decisions, why would you? I would not be spending any more money on cars. I'd be making all cybercabs and I'll be making all bots at this point.
So here's the thing. The comment on its face sounded a bit weird. It's like, wait a minute, stationary uses LFP and the autos use the NMC chemistry. Those don't overlap. Except that LFP is getting very good. It is entirely possible you could build a shorter range semi with LFP batteries, but the Cybercab can be LFP. It is chemistry and form factor agnostic. And so, yeah, do you make one Model Y or 2 to 3 Cybercabs? Do you make one semi or 20 to 25 Cybercabs? That is a decision that's going to that may have to be made.
Do you make a Model Y or do you make 30 bots?
Right, 30 bots. Yeah. Do you make a semi or do you make 2 Cadillac Escalades? I don't know. The Escalade's got a very large battery is what I'm saying. It's actually literally less than 4 Escalades you could get out of a Tesla semi battery. Yeah. It is that insane. It sounds like a joke. And
so I'm telling you, that's my guess of what's going to happen. CERN did a fantastic analysis of this, CERN Basher, where he explained exactly what is the what we just did, right? Each one in a vehicle equivalence, each one on a battery equivalence, each one on a margin equivalence. And at that point, when you are selling and creating bots, why would you do anything else? Why would you do anything else? And
if batteries are the constraints, yes, that is the most financial and beneficial bang for your buck.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are automobiles made with LFP batteries today. Tesla makes a number of them out of Shanghai. And for that matter, we used to make them in Fremont. Tesla used to make them in Fremont using imported LFP cells. The import tariff is very high. Maybe he can have a chat with his buddy and see if that's something that could be eased, at least until U.S. battery manufacturing comes online. But it doesn't appear that that's consistent with the objectives of the administration.
Do you think that Tesla will 2027, 28? Okay, let me push it out 28 to 30. That they'll still make Model 3s, Model Ys, or will they be making everything compact? Will they make everything robotaxis, cybercabs, cybervans, cyber whatever?
I think they'll still be making them for the same reason they still make S and X. Nostalgia at the very least. All right.
I don't think so, dude.
All right. Well, I think the beauty of this bet is that no matter which one of us is right, we both win.
Yeah. I just can't imagine, like, if you're the future is, if you've proven robotaxi, you're proven that it's working, there's going to be obviously still a market for people wanting to own their own car and drive their own car. I'm not saying that's going to go away, but as a company, you'll want to push autonomy. Everything will become cybercabs, different versions of cybercabs, and maybe you'll reduce the kind of car Model 3s and Model Ys being sold.
If you reduce to one Model Y factory, that would, but I think by 2030, there will not be a battery constraint no matter what Tesla's making. And I think that, that would make sense to continue making vintage old style cars with just periodic updates for the folks who like the feel of the wheel in their hands as they go around the bend.
All right. Well, I'm going to stick to my bet. It's going to be a bot company and a cybercab company, and that's it. They're not, like I said, highly reduced, just like Model S and Model X are still being done, but very small numbers, one factory. All right. Thank you so much, Brian. That was great. Good to take the big comments that were made yesterday, him outlining each year and you walking us through what can happen. Follow Brian on his YouTube channel, FutureAza. Great guy, great company, great channel. See you guys. Bye-bye. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.